haven't had the same experiences that other person had. For whatever reason, black people may like you more. And that's possible. That's very possible. Like, I have white people that like me a lot. And I don't have to kiss butt for them to like me. I don't have to perform for them to like me. They just naturally gravitate towards me. It's like we understand each other. It's the same thing with some white people. They can go in the hood, and for whatever reason, they can probably get more of an embrace than some black people from other black people. They playing spades, they hanging out, and the white person is just embraced. Black people just like them. They understand each other. Something about their vibrations, it connects. You know what I mean? And so sometimes you win some, you lose some. That's how you got to take it. Especially if they have had bad experiences. If they've had bad experiences, ain't nothing you can do about that. It's not, you cannot counsel them. All you can do is, like I said, is be a good example of what a black person is supposed to be. That's all you can do. And hope that that changes their heart. But trying to force it and trying to demand respect is only going to make it worse. It's only going to make it worse. See, I'm the type of personality, if I'm not embraced, I'm like, oh, well. And I'm moving on. Like, everyone's not like that in the black community, though. If they're not embraced, they feel offended. Now they feel a need to, like, try to challenge you and test you and play with you and everything like that. Like me, how I am as a black person, if you do not embrace me, whether you be white, whether you be black, whether you be Hispanic or Latino, if you do not embrace me, then it's good riddance. It's good riddance. I'm not going to sit there and cry about it. I'm not going to sit there and force the love or force the respect. Eventually, with time, a person like me, I'm gonna get my respect. I'm gonna get it because I'm a good person. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a person that shows respect, and everything I do, for the most part, it makes sense. And if I make mistakes, it makes sense. If I make mistakes, it makes sense. Like, for instance, I lost a key. I lost my keys, right? But that day, I had went all across town, all on the bus, train, had to catch a bus and trains, right? And I'm in the habit of staying in my neighborhood where I'm point A to point B less than a mile. So I'm used to that routine. So the way I carry my keys and the way is like a person that's just stepping out to the deli or just stepping out to the grocery store. That's how I moved for months. Only places I went was from the store, the grocery store, and to the deli. Now imagine you start venturing out. You're going to be in the habit of putting keys a certain place, not in your pants, but in your upper jacket, right? Because you're just up the street and back. We're humans that are we're habitual creatures. So if I don't care what you used to do, if you start breaking a habit and doing something else, that's what you're going to be in the habit of doing. That's what you're going to be in the habit of doing. So I was in the habit, I say all that to say, I was in the habit of putting my keys in my top upper jacket because I'm just like right at the deli or I'm just right at the grocery store. That's literally all I went. Or I'm jumping in the cab to pay my bills. That's all I was doing. So when I started venturing out and getting on a bus and then taking the bus and then getting on the train and then going different places, that's where my key got lost from me being habitual with putting it in my upper pockets. But I'm going long distances doing that and it got lost in the process. See, it makes sense. I can explain everything I do. But then you'll have people say, well, that never happened to me. But that's an arrogant statement. Because I'm sure every human being has lost something. You lost something. And I could easily say, well, I wouldn't have lost that. But you're really just trying to point out what I've done, the flaw. Oh, look what happened. And how young-minded does that make you? You know what I mean? Like, people lose stuff all the time for whatever reason. You don't have to explain it. It's human nature. You're going to lose something all the time. For someone to act like they don't do the same thing is non-human. It's just unhuman. Which means they're holding you to perfection, or they feel that they're better than you, or they're trying to find ways to be better than you. I would never say that would never happen to me. That's arrogant. How you know? That's an arrogant statement. I've heard more than one person say that. That's arrogant. Like, who can say definitely? That's what that says to me. And then I totally explain my situation. But you know what? I didn't even try to totally explain it. Not totally down to the T. You know, so I can make all my stuff make sense for the most part. For the most part. You know. And then on top of that, to be honest with you, I was drinking at the time. On top of that. And smoking at the time. So imagine if you're doing something already naturally out of your routine, and then you're drinking, and then you're smoking. Yeah, you might would lose some keys. You might would. That's understandable. You're already doing something out of the normal. You're already kind of doing something normal that you don't do every day. So you're going to be more prone or inclined to do what you do every day, whether it's place keys a certain place, or you're going to be more inclined to do that. Just being a habitual creature. That's what's going to happen. And then you're intoxicated on top of that. It's easy to happen. That's very easy to happen. So it's like, but see, it's just human nature for people to point out flaws, man. But they don't point out your strengths. Like in that case, I kept the key the whole year. Basically, it was a week's time, less than a month's time from a year for me having the key. That's through snow, rain, sun, all different, everything. Same pockets I've been had. You know what I mean? I don't let nobody hold me to no standards like that. Or treat me like, oh, see what you did? Yeah, I do see what I did. But I can explain it. Yeah. But they're trying to hold you down on some okie doke stuff. Like you slow or something wrong with you. Come on, man. You can't play me like that. I even know that that's the insinuation. That's how smart I am. And some people just are not smart enough to see themselves. Because when you say something like, oh, I would never do that. You already saying, I know that you're human and that it's possible. So you're saying that I'm beneath you, that you're making mistakes I wouldn't make. When you don't know if you would make those same mistakes. But you're saying, see, you beneath me, you making mistakes I wouldn't make. But they don't know and you know what? Karma has a way of working that out to where you will see that you are just as flawed as everybody else, and you make mistakes just like everybody else. Just because you tried to act like you superhuman. Just because of that. Just because you tried to act like that. You know what I mean? But I let it be what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't trip. You know what I'm saying? I do not trip. But that's why I am how that's why I move a certain way though. That's why I move a certain way. Because I'm not in a game, I'm not in a contest. I'm not trying to play the perfect person. They on that. I'm not on that. I'm very comfortable with being a human being. I'm not trying to be superhuman. I'm not trying to be some third degree black belt military supernatural person. You know what I'm saying? And some people, that's another thing, especially if it's an alpha male or alpha female. They feel like they have to always perform. I don't feel that way. I'm not one of those people. There's plenty of them out there. They're police, they're military, and they feel that they always have to perform and always have to be this certain person at all times. Even fixing a sandwich, they have to be this person. Walking down the street, they have to be this person. Going anywhere, at any time, they always have to be this certain persona. And I'm just human. I'm like, and that's why I move on a higher level, because I'm comfortable with who God made me to be. God made me to be, as far as a creature, human, which means when I say it in this interpretation, that it's not going to be a machine. I can make myself machine-like, but at the end of the day, I'm still flawed and I'm still a human. There's not a perfect brain. There's no one that has a perfect brain. If you say that you have a perfect brain and you have always thought perfect thoughts, you are lying. You are absolutely lying. I'm not saying it has to be the worst thoughts in the world, but if you sit here and tell me, oh, you never had a thought, and you said, well, I shouldn't have thought that. I shouldn't think like that. If you ain't never done that, then I don't know what to say. But the rest of us, and that's why people, it may be another reason people like me, because I'm just human. I'm going to talk the truth about black people. I'm going to say what you're scared to say. You feel the same way. You feel exactly how I feel. That black people don't have a past to play with other black people. It's just the truth. Like, just because I'm black don't mean you got a past to play with me. That's the human in me. Now, I could be a robot and say everything you want me to say. I can say everything about black people you want me to say. But the humanity in me, the human part of me that reasons within myself is going to say, wait, hold up a minute. I mean, I even have problems. People even have problems with their own family. How am I going to act like me and black people going to have a perfect relationship? And you ain't even got a perfect relationship with your wife. You ain't even got a perfect relationship with your husband. You ain't even got a perfect relationship with your family, let alone black people that you don't even know. I mean, come on, man. And that's where we get people start performing, faking it, and it's not real, and I'm being real. It's just, you're going to have problems with everyone, and it's all in how you address it. You know what I'm saying? But sweeping it under the rug, always sweeping something under the rug, all that does is bring in resentment. Resentment, to me, comes from failed expectations. When you have failed expectations all the time, whether it's with a specific people or it's with a certain or family or whoever, if you have constant failures, failed expectations, then people begin to resent. I can resent people too. I'm only human. I'm not perfect. If you do me a certain way over and over and you fail me, then I will begin naturally as a human being, begin to resent you. It's just normal. It's normal for failed expectations. And so I don't let people hold me to a higher standard or a double standard, that they don't hold other people to when they see all this stuff going on anyway in the hood, but you holding me to a double standard or a higher standard. I'm not going to let that happen. Because the worst thing somebody can do to black people is kill them. I'm not killing you, am I? All right, then. Then you're spoiled. You're spoiled. And that's what happens with a lot of people. You look at people, look at it for what it is. It's being spoiled. You are being ungrateful because nothing is happening to you. Nothing. I'm not robbing you. I'm not shooting you. I'm not hurting you. I'm not slashing you. And you're being spoiled. Now you're splitting hairs. Well, I don't like the way he looked at me. Well, I don't like the way he talked to me. And then other people robbing you. You know what I'm saying? Other people killing you. So, man, to me, Americans are quick to be spoiled. Even when you live in the neighborhood, they can see you as a problem, but they spoiled. They spoiled, man. You ain't robbing nobody in the neighborhood. You ain't abusing nobody in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? You ain't just trying people in the neighborhood. You ain't just trying people. You know? You ain't doing that. So that's a spoiled kind of community too. People can be spoiled, man. They just brats. They got so comfortable with your good ways that they had to find something wrong even in that. When they got comfortable, then that's when they start looking for something. But they comfortable with goodness, the goodness that you treat them like. But even with human nature being comfortable, then comes the test and the plan and the splitting the hairs and trying to find something wrong. You know what I mean? And then that's when you do get collisions. Because now somebody gonna call you on that. And then it could escalate to other things and other, and it goes on and on. So then now you have problems with people that really wasn't a problem in the first place. See, I can explain myself. That's what I'm saying. I can explain myself. Now, make them explain when they playing with black people and they think they got a pass with playing with other black people they don't know. And make them explain that to a fully grown man outside their culture, not other black people. Let's take it to outside your culture. Let's find some Asian man or some white nice guy that's outside your culture and explain to him why you need to know this man. Explain to him why you need to know this black man that you don't know. Explain to him why everybody got to know who he is or why is everybody talking. As grown people, not kids now. And kids going to talk, kids going to do that kind of thing. But as grown men and women, can you explain to someone outside of your culture and outside of your perspective as a people why you're doing what you're doing? And then you see how silly it looks. It looks quite silly to another man because he doesn't see any need. They're not getting money together. They're not doing anything together. So why are they even like interested in this person? It happens all the time. Where I'm from and all across the country, everywhere. It's not even a certain city. It's not even a certain state. It's a culture. It's a certain culture that feels like I need to know you and you need to make me understand who you are. Like why? Like if I'm not in your face and I don't see what you do, if you're doing something illegal and I'm not in your face, then why you need to know me? I don't know what you do illegally and I don't care what you do. See, I don't have a problem with minding my business. I don't. I've never been walking down the street, seeing somebody hustling and think, I need to stop that. I ain't never been that type of person. But if you come into my situation, me being the man that I am, the leader that I am, then I will hold you legally liable. See, I can make it make sense. You in my situation, you did something to me. Now you're legally liable. Just like a famous person. You try to play with a famous person, you play with them too hard, you're going to be legally liable. It's no difference. And you can call it snitching. I call it you're legally liable. Now, whatever you do is your business. I'm not out here trying to bust dope dealers. I'm not out here trying to catch killers doing stuff. I'm not out here trying to catch anybody doing anything. Legally speaking, crime-wise, I'm not in that business. But if you come into my business, I'm going to hold you legally liable. You do something to me, I'm going to hold you legally liable. Now, does that make sense? It makes sense to grown people outside of your culture. It makes full sense. I'm minding my business. As far as your business, I'm minding my business. But when it comes to my business and you're in it, which is my well-being, then I'm holding you legally liable. I'm too high ranking, man, to be playing any games with anybody that's playing politics, because that's all you're doing anyway. So I'm definitely holding you legally liable, because I feel like that needs to come off the streets. So if you come into my life playing those politics games, I'm going to take full advantage of that. Because I feel like that's one of the worst problems also that's in the black community. All these politics, everywhere, and ain't nobody, half of the people ain't totally educated. So you don't even really know what you talk about. You think you know everybody and what everybody do, and ain't nobody smarter than you, and everybody's just the equivalent of you. And sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes actually, without someone even saying it, they actually are smarter than you. So maybe they're avoiding this confusion and you take it as bougie. Maybe you looking at these women that mind their business and you saying they bougie, but they just smarter than you. They realize they ain't going nowhere. That ain't going nowhere what they doing. And they don't even engage it in the first place. They smart enough not to engage it in the first place. And you took it as bougie. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, though. So like, just like people say some things goes without saying, it's the same thing with smart people. Smart people, you don't have to explain. You don't have to explain because they already know the ignorance that's out here. They already know. So if you minding your business and it's on that level for real, then they don't got no problem with you. They don't misunderstand that. They don't take that as bougie because they already know the level of ignorance that's out here in 2022. They already know. See, I understand people. I'm not some dwarfed mental that don't understand people. I understand people. People don't understand me because some people don't have the capacity to. You know what I'm saying? They just don't. They don't have the capacity. So with that kind of situation, I don't even insult them by making them look a certain way, making them look like they don't understand. You know what I'm saying? So I just step back. I'm going to step back. I ain't going to make you look stupid because then you're going to be insulted. Because a lot of people don't have the ability to look stupid and be humbled. They get prideful when you make them look stupid. You know what I mean? So like, with all that being said, man, you know, that's it. I explain myself. I can't explain myself. I can explain myself perfectly. You know what I'm saying? And even these cops, they can't explain themselves. They can't explain themselves. You see all this stuff going on in the hood. You see how it is. You know how it is. And you still the jerk that you are, man. You believe in stuff that somebody else told you that wasn't true as far as the interpretation they was trying to insinuate of that person, and you still went with it. You can't explain why you still went with it. Being an upholder of the law. And you can say you're human. You can, but when you put on when you put on that outfit with that badge, you are a badge. You know, so that's when they involve themselves in my politics too. You know, and they think they think they know me, and then something happens. Cause see, I have God on my side. They're not above me. You are not above me as the police. You should be humble enough to not even act like you're above me. You're not above me. You are just another police. That's all you are. You're just another policeman. Look. I've dated. I've been in the company of a police in an acquaintance atmosphere. Not me on their level, them on my level. Them doing what I do. Okay, and not them moving to my beat. I mean, not me moving to their beat. Them moving to mine. So I've already looked in a cop face eye to eye on a friendship level. So I see through that. You're just another human like me. So if you use the machine of the police institution, I'm going to pull your card. I'm going to pull your card. If you use the police machine institution as a human being against me, I'm going to pull your card. Because you're just another human being to me, especially as a man of God. I could easily point out the obvious things about you, but I don't do that. I could make you feel, I could condescend on you easily, very easily, but I'm not going to do that. I could catch you slipping in your human ways and be very condescending as a man of God on a policeman. I could do that, but I choose not to do that. That would be unhuman of me, right? Right. So that's just basically, man, where I'm coming from on this, man. I just I just feel like people have to stop. Like Tupac said, we got to learn to treat each other better. We got to eat better, learn to treat each other better. And we still ain't got around to doing that as a culture. You know, you don't hear any of these other rappers saying that. And you wonder why everybody still listens to Tupac. You still wonder why everybody listens to Tupac, because really, honestly, people haven't caught up to what his whole philosophy of things, the whole philosophy of everything. It isn't because people want to be him. It's people forget Tupac was not just a thug. And some people don't even say he was a thug. They say he was a soldier. They don't say he was a thug. But we all can agree that Tupac was a very complex person, to where he was many things. You know, he talked on many things. And you don't hear anybody doing that anymore. You don't see it. And I'm not saying everyone's supposed to do it. I'm not saying that. But we should be able to be, as human beings, able to be competent and of a high caliber on many different facets, on many different things. We should be able to talk about social, being like this, being social. You know, black people can't feel like they have a past to play with other black people. We should be able to talk about stuff like that. Everything. Instead of just the obvious things. And that's where you have people get, you know, dwarfed. They get dwarfed in many areas. They become dwarfs in many areas because they don't grow themselves in the areas that they need to as a human being, in all the areas they need to as a human being. They don't do that. They just grow themselves in the area that's enough to get by. It's almost like education. You know, a lot of people in America, they just educate themselves enough to get by. You know what I'm saying? And then when they get out of high school, they don't educate themselves no more. They don't read books. They don't try to find out history. They leave all the adult education to the government. and to the politicians. And you wonder why we look the way we look. Because after high school or even after college, most Americans leave what they're educated about to the government. You let the government educate you. You let them tell you what's going on in the world. You let these people on TV tell you what's going on out here when they don't even live it. They on TV. How they gonna tell you what it is? Oh, because they did some tests. Because they took a poll. The best test and polls is to come out here and live this life out here. I'm not gonna listen to a politician that never lived out here where I lived at to try to tell me what's going on and how I'm thinking. You don't know how I think. See, back in the day, you used to have those documentaries where people would talk to the community. They don't do that no more. You notice that? It used to be documentaries, whether it was white people doing them for white people or black people doing it for black people, and they would talk to the community about how they feel about different issues, politicians, all different type of things. They stopped doing that because that's the truth. They stopped doing that, but that's the truth though. They're going to speak it from a more eyes-on perspective that some politician or some scientist is telling you, or someone doing human science documentaries, and they ain't never lived. They're not living out here now, so they try to tell you how humans act based on what's on paper psychologically. And it don't work. If it worked, why it ain't work? Why they can't figure it out? They still can't figure out black people. America still misunderstand black people.